Deborah Thomas, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. And this is my first time sharing on the Red Women of the World site or group. And just so you know what my background is, I've been a choir teacher for a lot of years, and right now I'm in administration at a school called American Leadership Academy, and I help students who are struggling in academics. And also I do life coaching on the side, and I have several clients right now, and we work on life performance. So just upping your performance in life. This is not a plan to have me be a coach. This is a plan to share what I know with the Red Women of the World so that they can create a group with synergy, that everyone will flow together and learn from each other. I believe that there is a lot of power in women working together, and I've spent since March, the middle of March, I've had a goal to have 5,000 friends on Facebook, which is a challenge because of the logarithms that are out there. But I still feel like I've almost accomplished my goal. I had 5,000, and then I think I'm at 4,800 and something. So anyways, then I'm going to invite all of those people onto this group called the Red Women of the World, because I just didn't select anybody. I went through and looked for people that I thought have some type of purpose in their life, that they're looking to do something that will empower the world. And all random types of people all over the world. I have friends from London, the Netherlands, Africa, just here in my own hometown, Australia, Paris, and I'm working really hard to have a plan to have women from all over the world share what they know to help create synergy. And wherever I've worked, I thought my main talent was teaching music or directing choirs, but what I really discovered is what I love to do is to empower people and to create groups where when they work together, they have a greater outcome than if they were each working by themselves. There are so many women on Facebook who are building businesses. They're teaching other women how to do businesses, how to improve their finances. There are women who share their artwork and their music. There are women that are discouraged being locked in their homes with COVID-19, but still are serving a purpose at home. There are women that love to be at home with their children and are doing things like, I saw a woman that was making soap for her family and refashioning dresses from what she had. So the creativity is unbelievable. So what I discovered in the last couple weeks is, well, my husband and I, he also is a life coach at Life You Choose, and what we discovered is kind of something, well, super interesting, because we were making videos for our school about executive skills for students that have trouble focusing or have low grades or might have problems with behavior. And we looked into this book called Smart But Scattered. And there's one for teenagers, there's one for teachers to read, there's one for parents to read, and then there's one for adults to read. And I was looking at all of these executive skills, and just in making 11 videos for parents to watch and working with my husband for an opening meeting and a closing meeting on Google, I discovered that my performance in the last couple of weeks has improved with me focusing on those executive skills. And of course, I think any woman who's trying to do something amazing in her life wants to have or take the executive spot in their own life. And sometimes we feel so overwhelmed by everything that we don't really even know what it is to do next, but we know we want to do something great. We just don't know what we should do next. And a lot of it has to do with these executive skills. And so just for me, I've seen so much improvement since we started on the 17th of September, I have seen so much improvement in myself in all of the different areas, and also being a parent and being a spouse and in working with other people and also in my business. So I wanted to share this information. There's no strings attached. I would like to share this information to help you in your purpose, and I can't wait to hear how it has helped you. And so I'm just going to go through all of the slides that I've created, and then when I share this video with you, it will have the slides interspersed within this recording so that you can get the information that you would like. I would love to help you in any way that I could, help you be excellent in what you want to do in life, whether it's to have a business, be a better mother, be a better person, deal with anxiety, depression. These executive skills can help you in all of those different ways. So the name of this program is called Are You the Executive of Your Life? And it was brought to you by Life You Choose. That is a business my husband and I began in 2015. And we hope to someday have a school where we train other coaches to help people up their performances in their lives. This is also a skills check for the Red Women. And just if you didn't catch what Red Women are to me, those are women who have it within their heart to do something powerful in their life that will make a difference in other people's life. Most Red Women have a lot of drive. They don't give up easily. They have vision in their life, like exactly what they want to do, and they're moving towards that. So I think red women represent power. So let's check and see if you possess the 11 skills to execute your life powerfully. So this is a book review series of Smart But Scattered, Guide to Success, and it's by Peg Dawson and Richard Gorey. What's the goal and purpose of this project? Is to help Red Women around the world understand which executive skills challenges are impacting their life performance. Use effective intervention strategies to reduce negative impact and to help them overcome those challenges. I'm going to read that one more time. Goal and purpose: to help Red Women around the world understand which executive skills challenges are impacting their life performance. Use effective intervention strategies to reduce negative impact and to help them overcome those challenges. So let's just look at the first part of that when it says understand which executive challenges are impacting their life performance. So there are 11 executive skills, and when we go through each skill, I am going to post small videos on each skill after I do this introduction video. You will be able to tell which ones are impacting your life in a positive way and which ones are impacting your life in a negative way, because maybe those are weaknesses you need to improve. All right. And then use effective intervention strategies to reduce negative impact. So I actually will share tips on how to reduce those problems or weaknesses, or how to change the weaknesses into strengths. These are not my ideas. These are the ideas from the book Smart But Scattered. You'll of course get some of my stories and my take on it, but these are from an amazing book, these ideas. And the last part says to help help these women overcome those challenges. All right, so and you'll hear this again, we can't change by observing other people, and we can't change through osmosis. So actually changing your performance in life requires some skills, some practice, habit changes, change of thinking. So I have 3 questions. First question. You know you have the power and drive, but why is your routine so chaotic? I was just talking to a person who works in my same office today, and she said, well, I started out doing one thing. I was in my kitchen, and then I was going to watch these videos that you put out by the school, and then I went into the laundry room because I was looking for something, and then we were trying to name my dog, pick a name for my new dog, and then pretty soon I came back, the whole night was gone, and I realized I had never watched those videos. So that's just the description. I call that circular, circular because I do that a lot. Like, for example, today I came home, took a nap. After I took a nap, then I was getting ready to go to the gym. When I got back from the gym, then I was thinking, okay, I really want to do this video tonight, but I need to get the laundry done because it's stacking up. All of the linens are stacking up. We didn't have laundry detergent, so I went to, well, I tried to go to Fry's. They were closed. I went to Walmart. They were closed. I ended up all the way at the Circle K. And then after that, I thought, well, I need to clean my daughter's room. And so see, it just gets a little chaotic. And then I was thinking, well, there's something else I would like to do tonight. I would like to order all of the pictures that I have, that Cassandra Ramirez took of our family, get those ordered so we can get our canvases hung up and get the frames. So I had a lot of things going on. So you probably do, and if you want to, you can pause this tape anytime to write down this information for yourself, because this could really help you. To the second question, why can't you seem to be organized? Why can't you seem to be organized? Well, one thing that we'll learn is boundaries. And when everybody else wants you to do things and you don't know what is really your responsibility, you haven't designated your responsibilities, separated from other people's responsibilities. Another thing is you might not have your priorities really set. There's lots of things that have to do with being organized, which we'll address. And number 3, why do you feel so scattered? Some of us are doing one thing, but we feel like we should do another thing. I have some daughters that say, I don't know which thing to do today, and they'll call me and ask me because they feel pulled in so many different directions. And so this Smart but Scattered book really helps give ideas on how to solve some of those problems. Okay, what are executive skills? I was just watching, not to bring politics into this, but I was just watching the first debate tonight, and I was thinking, we have Donald Trump who's the president now, and then we have the person who's running against him, and I was thinking about executive skills, and I know that there's problems with the debate, and I was thinking some of these executive skills were kind of lacking a little bit. Not that I'm leaning towards one person or the other, but you know, the ability to not interrupt, the ability to know what's most important to be able to control your emotions in order to be able to accomplish what your future task is. If you, for example, want to be president of the United States, then you might possibly want to be careful and be strategic about what you say so you can achieve that end goal. So that's just going on in my life right now. I'm not a big political person, but I stood back and kind of viewed it from this executive skill mode, which I'm focused in right now. Executive skills are high-level cognitive functions of the brain. So in school we talk about, okay, that student is functioning at a high cognitive level. And this doesn't have to be an adult. My granddaughter called me the other day and sang a song with the words that we would know, the same melody, same song that fit together. And then she sang the same melody and wrote her own words at age 4, which was super impressive. And I was saying, okay, she is functioning at a high level, at an abstract level, that she can put those two things together. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be an adult to have high-level cognitive functioning happening in your brain. So these executive skills, they help us to decide which activities or tasks to pay attention to. So you think back to feeling scattered, not knowing which thing to do. So these executive skills help you know what to pay attention to. Helps you to sustain attention, to stay focused, and sometimes people focus too much and they let everything else fall apart around them, things that are important to them, because they're focused too much. So we'll discuss that also. And manage our emotions. So my daughter and I have been talking recently, because she's getting ready to get her license, that in order to be out driving, you have to be able to manage your emotions. Because if you're angry, frustrated, stressed, have anxiety, all of these things play into what's happening when you're driving. If you're distracted by these things going on in your brain, you might miss something that's happening while you're driving. Also, the radio going, people next to you with hand actions and all of these things, if you're not able to focus, then those executive skills are not there yet. And that's why I think we have driver's permits and someone sits in the front seat and kind of helps with those executive skills. And the last part is to regulate our behaviors, or actually initiate our behaviors sometimes. Because as coaching women, I have realized that some of them had big dreams that are over here and they're here, and really the problem is just initiating the task, just taking one step forward. And taking a step forward actually is a behavior. How do I help executive skills? Each skill develops at different periods of the brain development and are influenced by both biology and experience. So in our biological makeup, executive skills exist only as potential. Like they're inside of us, all ready to happen. So then we have to have different experiences in our life or act upon them for them actually to come to fruition. Okay, experiences which are toxic during infancy of childhood can affect the development. This is like a whole huge thing right here. In life coaching, what I've learned is even as adults, the experiences that happen to us when we're younger totally affect every day those decisions that we make. For example, where I work right now, there across from us is another classroom where a teacher speaks really loudly all day, which I'm sure she's an excellent teacher, but to me it sounds like she's yelling. I have some different parts of my life when I was younger where there was yelling and contention, and so those things create stress for me. So when I'm at work and I hear this yelling, it kind of creates that tension for me. Whereas somebody else, let's say someone who was raised in a sports family where there were a lot of games, there was a lot of yelling, cheering going on, loud parties at home, then that yelling would just be something that they're used to. So those are experiences which are toxic during infancy of childhood or childhood can affect development. Just a review of that, each skill develops at different periods of the brain development and are influenced by both biology and experience. If a person, for example, we have some people in our house, in our family who have had brain surgeries, sometimes there's something that happens to us, like my daughter had a removal of a tumor, which would change your biology makeup. But also there's plasticity of the brain for most everybody, maybe not possibly for Alzheimer's or dementia, patients who have, or clients that I've worked with who have that, but most often there's plasticity in the brain where you can create new habits to gain executive skills. Plasticity means that if you try a new habit and keep doing it, the brain learns a different way to function and creates different connections. All right, executive skills develop in a hierarchy. So hierarchy is like, if you think of the food pyramid or anything where it starts low and then works its way up and it builds upon each other. That's what a hierarchy is. So if you look at this slide that I'm attaching this video, red stands for skills that have to do with behavior, and the black stands for skills that have to do with cognitive development or thinking. Just remember that the red, it has to do with our behaviors, our actions, and black has to do with the way that we're thinking. The lowest is response inhibition, and the highest is metacognition. And metacognition is thinking about thinking, or thinking, taking the big picture of your life, stepping back like it's not even you, you're looking in on someone else's life. Don't forget that I will be posting videos that will specifically cover the details of each skill, give you examples of whether you have weaknesses or strengths in the skills, and then also some examples or ideas, ways to strengthen these skills. So the first skill, executive skill, is called response inhibition. And that's the capacity to think before you act, and the ability to resist the urge to say or do something. Today, when I was watching the debate, that's what popped into my head. It's so hard sometimes when you're talking to someone and they're talking about something and you already have it, and you want to say, oh, let's get to the point, and then you want to go to the next thing, and you feel like you're just waiting and waiting for them to finish when you already know what they're going to say. And then also there's the part where you're just talking and then someone else is talking and you want to jump in to kind of join in on the idea with them, but it may not be taken in the way that you're presenting your information, and having that patience. So if you're strong in response inhibition, that means you can accept redirection without excuses. I don't even know how strong I am in this area. I think this actually is a weakness for me because I do interrupt. My husband and I are working on this in our family. We are a family of interrupters. We get excited and jump in. And I see now that that's an executive skill that I need to work on. Okay, weakness is argues or speaks out randomly during conversations. This also might be like, I don't know if you go to church or not. We were going to church, but now since COVID-19, we have been doing our church at home. Every once in a while we go to church. If you're in church or in a public meeting, there's certain people who get up and then they just say things. You're dying, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just said that. And I know like the young people of today are more willing to say things that other people weren't willing to say, but there is definitely a line between what is appropriate to say in front of everybody when you don't know who is in your audience. And so knowing where that line is, making people uncomfortable or maybe offending people in a large group because you're not thinking about that. You could be totally excited about what you have to say, but it could be offending other people. And so then you have to think, you have to look way past that. You have to say, okay, when I'm finished talking and I have people that I'm going to be associating with, whether it be friends or family at my church, how will they feel about what I said, and will I have offended them? Will I have created the result that I like, or have I actually made things more stressful for myself for no really good or strong reason? Executive skill 2 is working memory. So that is the ability to hold information in the memory while performing complex tasks. This incorporates the ability to draw on past learning or experiences to apply to the situation at hand or project into the future. So having just turned 57, I totally realized this, and I'm sure other people who are my age have always also realized this, that the working memory does change as you get older, and like remembering numbers is not as easy as it used to be. I used to be able to remember phone numbers of everybody, but it's still a skill that we can practice and become stronger in through using habits and plasticity of the brain. Also, working memory can be affected by diet, sleep, exercise, the kind of conversations you have, what you read, what kind of activities you do on the computer, if you're doing a lot of calculations, doing your budget, doing your own calculations. All of these things help with working memory. So if you're strong in your working memory, you'll remember the expectations of multiple people. So let's say I'm in my job and my job is to help find the kids that are low academically, and then I also need to make sure that I make it comfortable to work with the person that I work with in my office, that I am responsible following the laws of the school where I'm working for liability purposes, that I understand my mission of the place that I work and the purpose and mission of my administrator. So all of these things are things that you consider, and when you're doing something, if we forget about all those and just do what we want, those people probably don't move forward in a successful direction in their lives, because they're going to be constantly trying to pick up the pieces of things they did because they couldn't remember. I have a funny story about that. When we took my mother-in-law while she was still living, when we took her on 2 cruises, I decided to use these patches to put behind my ears so I wouldn't get seasick, which worked great. But I did not realize, nobody said, and I didn't read the package, nobody said that my memory for a short period of time after we got back would be weaker. And it was interesting. I got home and I thought, oh, I can't remember like names of songs or anything. But I guess it was very short term, and I was realizing how thankful I am that I can remember things. If you're weak, you're going to forget to complete important tasks. So an example of that would be if we have dogs. So if we didn't have the dog door open, if we slid the little thing into it so it locks so the dogs can't get out while we're gone during the day, then that is going to be a problem. If we don't give my daughter her medication for what she needs, then that's going to be a problem for her during the day. If we don't remember that our gas tank needs gas, and we're singing, driving our car, we're out on the highway, we're like 100 miles, which this happened to me, 100 miles from nowhere, and we realize that we forgot to get gas. So that means that there's a weakness in that executive skill of the working memory. All right, executive skill number 3 is emotional control. So I think this is a skill that I actually am strong in, and I think it's interesting because of all of the stress and different situations that we've had in our life. We've had deaths, divorces, there has been some domestic violence, not in our own family, but in a long term, in the whole full family, and different experiences that we've had. We've had problems with finances, medical issues where we had to make decisions under distress. So during all of that, somehow you kind of have to learn to have some resilience and to not fall apart. And some may view a person who has emotional control as being cold-hearted, or not willing to show their emotions. But emotional control is the ability to manage your emotions to achieve goals, to complete tasks, or control and direct behavior. So an example of this would be when my daughter had just had she had a 3rd brain surgery and had her 4th brain surgery the day after. It was exhausting, and it was an emotional time for us because we didn't know how her life was going to go, and because it was a very serious medical health problem that she had. So in the middle of that that last surgery, we went down to the car to get something out of our car that was parked in the hospital parking lot. And there was a lady out in the middle of the parking lot screaming, like freaking out. And she was screaming at her child. And we felt like the child was possibly in harm's way because the mother was so angry. So even though we had emotional things going on, we intervened and asked, can we help you? Let us take your child for you for a few minutes. And then she had lost her wallet. She had a son who was going into surgery, emergency surgery, and she was stressed about that. And then this little child had lost her wallet. He had just set it down someplace. So it was pretty crazy. But I do remember that even though we had a lot going on, we were able to show emotional control in this situation, which shows that we do have a strength in that executive skill. We haven't always, but just going through life's hardships that can be gained. A strength would be can manage anxiety of workload or deadlines and still perform. So some people panic and shut down when there's a deadline. Or sometimes, I know last week at our work, my husband and I work in the same area, we were assigned to do something at the very last minute, and it was something that required a lot of work, and we worked till the last minute. We didn't waste any time to make sure we had our act together so it wouldn't be uncomfortable, the presentation. And so not just like, oh, it's too late, I can't do it, I only have 45 minutes, I can't do it. But just here's the deadline, we're gonna get it done. And a weakness would be if you're paralyzed and you shut down and you cannot perform. So I do have an example of when I did not have strength in my emotional control. Last year at this time, we went to stay at a beach house in California like we do every year in San Luis Obispo by Morro Bay. We decided to take our car. My husband had to fly home early and I was going to drive the car home. I had planned to drive in the middle of the night so the traffic in LA wouldn't be so bad. And it turns out that I had so much anxiety from the amount of cars coming in and off the freeways on both sides and all of the lights going on, and I was tired. We actually ended up pulling off and staying at a hotel in LA. And then we got up the next day and then I found the off the freeway way to travel home. And so that was an example of how I need to gain some control over my emotions. And I had had an accident the previous July where my truck and my trailer went out of control on the freeway. And so I'm sure that PTSD was kicking in and I didn't want to have that happen again. So that's an area that I'm going to have to work through in order to have greater emotional control when I'm driving on freeways at night out of town. Okay, executive skill number 4. Sustained attention. It's the capacity to maintain attention to a situation or task in spite of distractibility, fatigue, or boredom. Okay, so I'm sure your minds went everywhere. Okay, in spite of distractibility. So, when you walk into your home, whether you be male or female, when you walk into your home and you have something to do and you see the dishes, you see the laundry, you are tired, you see dogs to take care of, you look out the back door and you see that the dog poop needs to be picked up, or that you can see that the plants that you forgot to plant are still out there, they're going to die if you don't get them. Just all of these things just flood your brain, and maybe what you were thinking you were going to do when you got home, it was just, you're overwhelmed by it. And so if you have this distractibility and it keeps you from accomplishing what you want to do in life, then that is a weakness. It's sustained attention. Also, fatigue. Can you do something when you're tired? If you said you're gonna, for me, I edit videos quite a bit. So if I said I was gonna have a video edited and have it posted, was I able to stay awake and do that? Did I plan it correctly? Another thing is boredom, sustained attention. Now, this is interesting when you're talking to someone and they're super boring to you and you're trying to sustain attention. That's also an executive skill that I think is really important. Going back to debates, both of these people who were debating tonight, I don't know if they were really listening to each other. They weren't bored, but they weren't really listening and learning from each other. Maybe because they were bored and wanted to just get what they had to say out. So, all right, so a strength if you are strong in a sustained attention, example would be you can sit and complete with short breaks a task for 1 to 2 hours. That's having pretty strong sustained attention. So this most often is one of my highest level executive skills. I don't know where this came from, but I work it through all the way. That might come from my background of creating performances and also decorating for weddings. Okay, a weakness is daydreaming through the task. So there's a difference between having vision of what you want to do in the future. You see a picture of what you want in the future and you're moving towards it, like all actions moving towards it. And daydreaming is just no focus at all. There's a difference between relaxing and then just, going to do something and you get there and you don't even remember what you're supposed to do. So daydreaming has its purpose. And I just barely had a client who gave me this idea. I also learned to be present in the moment. So if you decide I'm going to be present in this moment, then that would be a great time to have some daydream going on. In our family we have these things called kite flying days, which we mean days where everybody is all happy, we're having an event together, it's outside, it's beautiful, everybody is enjoying each other's company. Well, then daydreaming would be great, laying on the grass, on a blanket, looking up into the sky, watching the kites fly and just daydreaming, and that would be appropriate. Executive skill number 5, task initiation. So this is the ability to begin projects without undue procrastination in an efficient or timely manner. So I realized that I am really good at sustaining attention and getting a job done, but I do think there's a little bit of procrastination. I know I need to do something, but it's the very first thing, initiating the task. What is next? What's the next thing I'm going to do? One good thing to do is to write down when you get an idea of what your plan is for something you really want to do. One person posted on our group that she wanted to help families be more stable and people having stronger marriages. And so I could totally see that if she posted some videos about that, or maybe tried to write a book, or maybe had a blog, that she could really help people. But anytime you have a project like that, it's like the first step. How am I going to start? Even when I started making videos, my nephew said, you just need to start. And so I've learned a lot from him in this situation. He's in the entertainment business and he knows you just need to start. So again, the definition is the ability to begin projects without undue procrastination in an efficient or timely manner. Okay, examples of strength. If you're strong in this, you're not waiting until the last minute to begin a task. And if you're weak in this, you're waiting until the last minute or never initiating the task and just blowing it off. So people who are great in having vision, they have vision to get something done, then they need to make a plan of how to accomplish it. And then also, most important is, when will I do the very first part of that? When will I take the first step? Whatever your goal is. We met this lady online through Thought Leadership Institute who wanted to have this kind of family farm where people could come and feed animals, learn how to grow plants. It was kind of like a family project, and I thought, ooh, that's going to be amazing. And so she was trying to think of what's the first thing that I do. Because I'm sure each of you have something amazing you can bring to the world. You just need to take the first step. And that's why I'm excited about this group, because I want to hear what you're doing.
6, planning and prioritizing. This is the ability to create a roadmap to reach a goal or complete a task, and being able to make decisions about what is important to focus on and what's not. So I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning we talked about being scattered or not knowing which thing to do. If you have decided what your core values are, or what your goals or your mission is in your life, this has nothing to do with any religion. This is if you know what you want out of your life and you have a plan for it, and you make a step-by-step plan, or you set up boundaries for yourself of what you will do and what you will not do, then when it comes to making a decision, you're not going to get so distracted, because you can say, is that in my plan? No, that's not in my plan. Or that's not my plan, but my priority is to do this, and so I need to take time to do it. For example, my husband and I were donating plasma through BioLife, and I realized that the time it was taking to go and do that was taken away from my health, because I really wanted to take time to exercise. And so driving far away and coming back. The other thing is I wanted to make sure that my daughter had someone at home with her, because she's in online school, half going to school, half in online. Didn't want to leave her home by herself. So once I decided what are my priorities, I said my priorities, I have some general personal priorities, but I said my priority is taking care of Emily and that's my youngest daughter, and taking care of my health before my life coaching business or before anything else. But of course I have some personal goals, like my spiritual goals are always first, and then my partnership with my husband. So having planning and prioritizing. So if someone says, can you do this today? Then I can say yes or no, based on my priorities. So today I knew I wanted to make this video, and so I came home and took a nap. So I would be able to stay up late after everybody goes to bed, so it would be quiet. And also I knew I had to exercise first, because I had told myself that my priority is first to exercise before my business. Turns out I was driving around tonight and I was thinking, well, I have the energy and I feel good about myself because I followed my own priorities, and so now I have time to do my life coaching and fulfill what I think is part of my life purpose, because I put things in the right order. A weakness would be, again, leaving things to the last minute. Having such a big, huge vision but never getting there because you don't have yourself organized. I have one more example about this. I used to teach online for China and for kids from China, and I usually taught, anywhere from 3-year-olds to maybe 15-year-olds, but one day a boy who was 18 came on. He was very discouraged. I was really worried about him. He was very discouraged because he wanted to study for his chemistry test, but he was worried about not passing his test, and in China you have to take tests to get into certain schools, and he wanted to be a doctor. And so he did not want to do the chemistry, and he was in a bad mood because that was what he had to do after he got off of learning English with me. So anyway, so this is how I worked that out with him to help him change his thinking. I said, so what is it that you want to do in the future? And he said, I want to be a doctor. I said, okay, here is your doctor goal. And then, how are you feeling today? He says, I don't want to do the chemistry. And I said, well, just tell me the path between here and being a doctor. Is the chemistry on your path or not? Is passing that test on the path, on the way? And then he got a big smile and he said, yes, I get your point. I don't think it was in perfect English that he said that, but that was the idea. Executive skill number 7 is organization. So it's the ability to design and maintain systems for keeping track of information or materials. So wherever I go in my home, with my daughters, when I go to visit, when I go on vacation, when I work, I believe in systems because systems make everything easy. So if you are, for example, a person that likes to throw all your clothes on the floor, and then when it's time to do the laundry, you just have to bunch up a huge mound and take it to the laundry room, then it's overwhelming. The laundry is overwhelming. But let's just say you had 4 hampers in your room. You had one for each color, like a light one, a medium one, a dark one, and when you threw your clothes, you took them off, you just threw them into those hampers, and then you had one in your bathroom for your towels. Then let's say you want to do the laundry, but you don't feel like doing a lot of laundry. You could just grab one hamper, dump them in the washing machine, take the hamper back to your room, and it's not a big deal. And so that's a system. So on Saturday, we clean our house, and I just have laminated sheets of all the jobs. I have every job possible that needs to be done in the house. And then everyone in the family on Saturday morning knows whoever's at the house has to work. So if my kids are visiting or their kids are visiting, they just help and pitch in, and they just cross it off with the marker, whichever job they want to do. So that's our system, so that during the week, we're not overwhelmed with having to clean. So sometimes, something comes up, and so we don't clean on a Saturday. And I can always feel it during the week, like, oh, I wish I would have mopped the floor, now that's getting in the way. Or I wish I would have, put those things away. So sometimes if you create a system, it actually frees up time. And knowing the system, like I deal with at work, working with a lot of students who are struggling in school academically. And so if I just randomly pulled out a name, there's 1,600 kids, so if I just looked up a kid, oh, this kid's doing bad, and go visit them, and I don't have a system, it's not going to be very effective. But if I take time to look up the bottom 5% or 20% in the school, make a plan, like every Monday I'll visit the freshmen, every Tuesday I'll visit the sophomores, and have a system, and the people that I work with, we all work in the same system, that if someone's gone, we all know the system, and we know how to do it. So systems are amazing, because then you can free yourself up. So if you have a system that you're going to clean your house on Saturday, you see that the refrigerator is a mess on Tuesday, and your pantry's bothering you, you can say, well, this is not the day to clean it. I'll clean on Saturday. And one thing we notice about cleaning, if you do it regularly, it gets easier each time because you keep up with it. And that's the same thing in everything, is just creating a system for yourself. Executive skill 8, time management. So the capacity to estimate how much time one has, how to allocate, and how to stay within time limits. I am not going to lie, this is my biggest weakness in executive skills. Anybody who knows me, I'm sure there'll be little comments. Anybody who knows me knows that this is a struggle for me. It's a strength in some ways, but a weakness in others. I do always accomplish the task that I set out to do, but having the ability to stop what I'm doing to do something else on time is still a struggle for me. And so that has to do with estimating how much time is it going to take to do something, including the ideas like, if you're going to get to church on time, then to go backwards in time and say, okay, how long is it going to take me to do this, to do this, to do this, and so when should I start? Another thing is sometimes we don't really have a clue, like how long does it actually take you to do your hair? So you might want to time yourself and say, okay, how long did that take me? How long does this take? And then back it up. So being on time someplace is a weakness for me, but planning out my whole week, I do accomplish all the top tasks that I usually set about to do, but it's not in the time frame that I thought it was going to be. It's always, I need more time than I thought I had. So I'm learning to cut back on what I'm expecting to do so that I can accomplish those other little things that I didn't account for. And this Saturday I was late for something that was really important to my husband, and so I realized that I need to step up my game on this. All right, examples of being strong would be to keep track of a schedule in a planner or on a cell phone. And the weakness is to randomly get work done at the last minute we're asking for time extensions to complete projects. So time management is a big, huge executive skill, and you could be really great in some areas, but if you think about the time management, like how much time does it take to do something, and is that really how much time it took? Do I need to give myself more time next time so that I'm not causing stress of other people and stress for myself? And also feeling like I wasn't doing well or being disappointed in myself because I wasn't able to accomplish everything, or going without sleep, which affects your health and sometimes even weight gain when you don't sleep enough. So today I took a nap so that I would have enough sleep. Executive skill number 9, goal-directed persistence. So that's the capacity to have a goal, follow through to the completion of it, and not be pulled off by or sidetracked by competing interests. Well, there's no way to talk about this without talking about diet or food management, because if you just think about that in food, the capacity to have a goal, okay, let's say to weigh 135, follow through to the completion of it. Yeah, we always can envision ourselves being 135, and to not to be pulled off by or sidetracked by competing interests. And the competing interests would be like, in our family, they love to go to Dairy Queen, have ice cream, have cake, eat a lot of cheese on things, a lot of bread. All these things are sidetracks, can sidetrack me or compete for me when I'm trying to maintain good weight. So an example of being strong in goal-directed persistence is here's an example of earn and save money over time to buy something important. So a lot of us don't have the delayed gratification. We want instant gratification. So if we think of it, we want it now. And that creates debt, creates a lack of savings. So when you get into an emergency situation, you don't have a backup because you always wanted it now. A weakness in this would be doesn't see the value in investing in your future career. So sometimes kids in high school, for example, there's a lot that have goals, to go to college, get a scholarship. I was just recently at a job interview where they asked me, what do you say to a kid who's a sophomore and doesn't really have an interest in doing anything when they get out of school? And so I had to think about that, and I said, well, first of all, we have to find out what they're good at and feel motivated to do something they really care about. And so goal-directed persistence has to do with thinking about what are you doing in your life, what are you excited about, what would motivate you. And sometimes, just in the way the academic world is set up, sometimes kids are forced by their parents, or we feel like we should do something, I should do that, but it's not really what we want to do, and we're not motivated, and so that's why it's hard to be persistent towards it. For me, I do better when I work than I stay home all the time. Because it's hard for me. I remember when I had little kids and they wanted a glass of water every 5 minutes, it was really hard for me to envision why that was important to do. I see now, but it was really hard for me to envision what is the point of giving these kids water every day. Couldn't I be doing something else more important? But now when my grandkids come over and they want water, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I want to spend time with you. I want to be with you, spend time with you, make this a special moment to create a strong bond. And so now I can see that goal-directed persistence, that later in life when they need to have someone to connect with, that I can be there for them because I took time to get them a drink of water. It's just when I was younger, I was not able to see that, but now I see my goals have changed, my paradigms have changed. All right, executive skill number 10 is flexibility. So the ability to revise plans in the face of obstacles, setbacks, new information, or mistakes. It relates to the adaptability to changing conditions or unexpected outcomes. And that is what life is about. And if you're running a business, if you're running your home, anything you do, you're going to have to be flexible. Like today, my daughter went to be an extra in a music video that some local stars performing in. And so they were traveling far. They wanted to take my car, which is easy for me to drive. So I ended up driving my husband's, a BMW Z something, Z4, which is a beautiful car, but it's a stick shift and it's very hard for me to reach the pedals in it. So today I had to be flexible and drive that car, make a plan that I could get to the gym and back without having to go through too much traffic, because I'm just not as good at driving that car. I don't feel as comfortable. But being flexible is really, really, really important. At work, I'm trying to get everything done quickly so we can start servicing kids who have needs with their grades. And last week we had help with an ACT test, like administer an ACT test, which took the whole entire day. And so I'd be able to stop, change, what's going on. So this is a skill I've learned that I can be good at. If I decide in my mind to be flexible, then I can be flexible. So I feel like this is a medium skill for me. Feel free to put in your comments which ones are strong for you, which ones are weak, and why, because we can all learn in this group. Examples of flexibility: if you're strong, you accept a change in a schedule and you roll with it. And a weakness is you throw a tantrum and you don't try. So actually a couple of weeks ago at work, there was a woman. She's got to be she's probably my age, maybe just a little tiny bit younger. She wasn't happy with something that happened in her room, and so she actually tried to take the whole boardroom for a day to work in there with her computer to get away from everybody, which is it's surprising, but it does happen. A couple weeks ago, I went to Jiffy Lube, was waiting for my car, so I went to a yogurt place, and while I was there was a big altercation between the boss and one of the employees there, and you could definitely tell that there had been a tantrum thrown, which means, usually reflects flexibility. So I cannot go on with the next executive skill till I tell the story about my second daughter named Heather. If she watches this, she's in this group. When she was 4, she wanted to wear her red shoes to go out to the mall. It was like 8 o'clock at night, and we lived in Colorado, and she wanted to wear her red shoes, and she wanted her dad to put them on her feet. She did not want to put them on herself. And so through the whole next hour, we had this going on between my husband and my daughter, because she wanted the red shoes on, she wanted to put them on, and he was not going to put them on. Neither one of them were flexible with each other, and so I think both of them have learned to be more flexible in their lives and strengthen those executive skills. Sometimes flexibility is a matter of, not always, but a matter of ego or pride, or putting yourself as more important than other people. And it is important if you want to be successful in anything, that you do have some flexibility. It's very uncomfortable and creates a lot of anxiety for everybody around you if you don't have some flexibility. Executive skill 11 is metacognition. Metacognition is my favorite topic. It's the ability to step outside yourself and look at a picture of what's happening in your life and to see how to make adjustments or make a plan so you're successful. So that's my definition, but the official definition is the ability to stand back and take a bird's eye view of self in a situation to observe how one solves a problem. Self-monitoring and self-evaluation skills. Examples: how am I doing? How did I do? Okay, so if you're strong in metacognition, you can monitor and critique your performance and improve upon it. That's one thing about what a teacher does. They think about what they're going to teach, they teach it, and then all the rest of the day they think about how did that go. Or like performance teachers in like theater, choir, band, art, anything like that, we're always continuously critiquing and figuring out what we can do to make it better. Even when I make videos, after I edit them, I realize, okay, this would be better if you did this. So stepping back and not being mad at yourself, just realizing you need to adjust. Weakness in metacognition means you don't understand why things did not go well. You never look at it and say, okay, what specifically do I need to change in order for it to go well? We might not choose to do this because we will feel bad about ourselves. We don't want to not think that we're perfect. So I just want to give you one example of metacognition. Two of my clients, we did this thing called mental rehearsal, where we went through a meditation, not anything weird, but just a meditation going to another spot, a vision of themselves as their best selves, and what actions would they be doing then, just describing what that moment is like. So in my first set of sessions that I do, transformation, 9-day transformation, we talk about that mental rehearsal, and we use that picture to help create motivation or drive to create new habits and to get rid of all of the layers of things that are burdening us. And so in the second set, a Powerful Mind series that I'm doing, I actually have the person step back away from that, like be in that moment, step back away and look on that scene and say, okay, there's the scene of where you want to be, and now you're looking in on that scene. What is it that is keeping you from really being there right now? And what is the first step that you need to take? All of that is metacognition. Like looking back, stepping back and looking in your life. And that's hard because we don't want to admit that we have problems or we have faults. But as I have learned in life coaching people, the minute you admit that you're not perfect and that you make errors, and you start using your life like you look at it like a scoreboard, like, okay, I didn't get these things right, but I got these things right. Here's where I need to improve. The minute you start thinking like that, then you begin to move forward in whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you want to do. There's one person, her name is Gabriella, who is in this group, and I watch her posts every day, and I think that she's highly effective because she has the ability to know herself, to stand back and know herself. She's a wonderful artist, she's a great musician, and she just brings peace to other people. And I feel that she must have had a lot of time to step back and look at things. And I love her artwork because I feel like she could step back and see a scene and recreate that for other people. So I admire that ability in her. So about strengths and weaknesses. If the executive skill weaknesses of others drive you crazy, their weakness is probably your strength. So for example, I have trouble with time management. It does drive my husband crazy, although he has worked really hard to be patient with me. That's because that's his strength. And so if you can feel like someone else's weaknesses are driving you crazy, you can it's guaranteed that probably that's a strength for you. There's something called goodness of fit. So everyone has some strengths and some weaknesses. If you work together well, it's goodness of fit. You balance each other out. But if you don't have that goodness of fit, just sometimes like two people get married, they have exactly the same strengths, same weaknesses. There might be some battles with that. If you have opposite strengths and weaknesses, but you're not willing to like be accepting of each other and look past those, it can also create some stress between you. This could be in any relationships, even at work. So learning to deal with conflicts between people's strengths and weaknesses. One of the people in our group is Katie Humes. She has a goal to help people learn to work together in families and in couples, and I'm sure this is an area of these executive skills, having give and take, learning how to use those skills and those strengths of both people, and learning to hone in on those and make the whole unit be stronger. So your strength may complement their weakness. Instead of being annoyed by someone else that they don't have your strength, that you can complement them. So just so you know, there's some questionnaires through this Smart but Scattered series of books, and the one I know, there's a questionnaire for an adult and for adolescents to test and see where their strengths are and their weaknesses are. So I've included links. I'll include them in the video, but that's going to be a little hard for you, so I'll also include them below the video so you can have access to those. I'm just going to go over those really quickly. 1, don't assume if you are struggling that you have the skills and you are just not using them as a matter of motivation. So if you're struggling with a skill and don't think something's wrong with you, or like, I just wish I could do it, it might be that you really don't know how to do that skill. You don't know how to improve that skill. And that's why I'm going to share more information. And there's so much information out there. Once you realize the skills you're weak in, you can Google just about anything. And I'm sure there are women within this group that could help with those skills. If you feel free to post them, I'm hoping that we can support each other in our purposes. 2, some behaviors reflect a skill weakness rather than a lack of motivation. So that kind of goes over what I just said. That sometimes you think someone's not motivated, but really they just don't know how to do it. And so that condescending approach, especially with parents and children or teenagers, it would be easier to take time to teach someone or kind of mentor them as opposed to just thinking they're lazy. Today I saw 3 comments from teachers saying that students were lazy. I thought, I don't know if they're lazy. Maybe they're not lazy. 3, you might need help to learn these skills. They cannot be acquired through observation or osmosis. You can't just say, okay, today I'm going to be better at time management. I'm actually going to have to set some goals, find out from people how to do it, go step by step. And observing someone else, me watching my husband being good with time management is not going to improve my time management unless I have him teach me how he does it. Okay, which I think would not be a good idea. It'd probably be better to learn from someone else and then have him kind of like be a guide. But just for us, I think that'd be frustrating to him. All right, 4, understand your innate drive for mastery and control, and focus on opportunities for you to pursue objectives related to your motivations. So many of the group, women in this group, were handpicked and invited because I know that they have an innate drive to do something. So I didn't really invite daydreamers actually. So the drive can be squelched due to years of struggling behaviors and negative consequences. So your motivation might not be right, or you have too many things getting in the way of your motivation, either because of your lack of or weakness in executive skills. It could even be like setting boundaries for yourself. 5, move from external to internal. So sometimes we have to have external motivation, from external to internal. So you may at first have problems with saving money. So I actually have had troubles in the past with finances, and so I know for me I have to have something that I can have some control over. So for me, I had to give myself a budget for shopping for clothes for a while, and it was a pretty big budget, so I could know I had that, and I would just use that little area to control my drive to spend money, and then have a budget in all of the other areas and be tight in that. And then as I gain more control, to lower the external reward if I have to have clothes in order to be motivated to do my budget, until it's internal. It creates a secure feeling to know that you have money in the bank and saved, and you can prepare for an emergency. Then work with others to assist with skills without annoying or alienating. So as I was saying before, these skills are for us, but of course, because we're human, we're going to want to help other people. And just because it's time for us to fix an executive skill doesn't mean that it's the right time for someone else. So we can appear or become super annoying. I know a long time ago with one of my sister-in-laws, we went to this conference, and I was so excited about all the things that I could do to make myself a better person. And my sister-in-law who I was with was more focused on what she could take home and help her husband with to improve upon. That is not going to go well. All right, because it was annoying and alienating. All right, 8, consider your development level and capacity to exert effort. When I was 42, had my last daughter, it was way harder to have her at that age than when I was 30, and between 20 and 30, and had all of my other kids, because my body was different. Another thing is, if you're trying to make changes in your life, having good health, eating right, sleeping right, all of these things give you more energy to exert effort. Because when you feel like you're on, like you're taking good care of yourself, you're going to more likely be willing to take on other things too. 9, seek out support, resources, mentor to be successful. So sometimes I do help as a mentor to life coach people, to help them in their life performance, not to tell them what they want to do. Actually, they tell me what they want to do, and I help them get rid of the clutter, work through roadblocks in order to improve their life performance so that they're happy with themselves. It's like setting them free. And I myself, when I have a mentor, I made so many good decisions when I was working with a partner to get my life coaching certification done. Because she was not in my life, she could stand back and look in my life, and she really helped me to realize that my position or my job at that time was not really lining up with what I wanted in my life. And to have that mentoring going on helped me to totally shift my life to my purpose and really set me free. So finding a person that can mentor you is a great thing. There's so many resources out there. Just going on Facebook and clicking on a lot of these free videos from people who you've studied and realized that they have a lot to offer. There's so much great information out there that you can use as a resource for anything you're looking for. And 10, keep the support in place until you have achieved and mastered success. So having that mentor with you, walking through things until you're on your own. And that is what life coaches do. Is they don't want to be your life coach for your whole life. What they want to do is help you. It's called scaffolding, really, like in the education world. If you've seen those big buildings, you can see the scaffolding where people climb up to build the building until it's all done, and they take the scaffolding down. So that's what a coach does, or a mentor, or these resources. They have something that's kind of helping you until you gain strength to do it on your own. and they teach you the process so you can recreate the process when they're not there. For example, I have one client that she has a process. She feels bad about herself, and if we go backwards from feeling bad about herself, it's usually when she has decided to do something and she's not sure about it, and she shares it with someone, then the other person gives them all these reasons why they shouldn't do the other person gives her all these reasons why she shouldn't do what she's going to do, and then she ends up feeling guilty and bad about herself. So what we realize is that she should not present information that she's not strong in to other people till she knows what she wants to do and sticks with it. Either that, or she has to be open to accept advice from other people and be grateful for that. And so once she gets that process down, when she's in it, she could say, why am I feeling like this right now? I'm feeling this way because I presented information that I don't feel sure about. And so I got myself in, so how I'm going to get myself out is to listen to what they have to say and be grateful for their advice and get rid of the guilt. So that's just one example of making sure that you have a process in place in your weakness or your executive skill that's weak before you let go of your mentor or your resource that's helping you. So just to wrap up, I'm going to present short videos. They'll be posted for review of each executive skill over the next few weeks. My husband and I are headed to California next week, so I'm hoping to make a few videos on the beach. I don't know how that'll be with the ocean waves in the back, but I think it'll be fun. These skills may be found in Smart but Scattered. It's a series by Peg Dawson. She has her doctorate in education, and Richard Roy who actually has his PhD. Our company, our business is Life You Choose. I don't plan to charge for these videos. I want to share this information because I have a goal to create a big group of powerful women who can create energy and for each other, to create a synergistic group where more women can make a difference in the world, because I think that's needed right now. And I thank you for your time, and just remember, it's never too late to improve your executive skills. Take care.